Hello everyone, my name is Sophie and welcome to a new video. Today, we will be talking about The Love Hypothesis by Ali Hazelwood. All beloved, you saw it on TikTok or whatever. I always get that recommendation when I looked up the book online. It was like, as seen on TikTok. Today you can see all of my pores, you can see everything in detail. You can zoom in and look at my big ass pimple. You're gonna be like, Sophie, why? Your skin always looks so flawless. That's because I was recording on my phone. But I stole my dad's camera and now we're here. I also got a microphone. Hello. So we are semi-professional now. Semi, because this is like a mess still. You want me to do a podcast? Yeah? I don't think anyone wants to hear that. That being said, let's just talk about the book. Like, if you notice any abnormality or anything, just know that it's because this is the first time I'm recording like this. And I'm just kind of trying it out, okay? Shut up. Anyway, I read The Love Hypothesis in turn of my reading vlog that I did, where I read 2,000 pages in 24 hours. I did that. I had never read a romance book before besides Colleen Hoover, but I don't really want to count that to anything because Colleen Hoover is a genre on her own and she's a bitch. I have beef with her, like personal beef. To kind of dwell into the romance genre, I was thinking about what kind of book I should read because I think being a reader, you should try out different things. Anyway, I decided that I want to try romance that is not Colleen Hoover, and so I picked up The Love Hypothesis, and I could not pronounce it for half of the video. Romance is not for me. I'm not a romance girly. It's something I had to come to a realization of. I love reading fantasy. Even though I always hate on the fantasy books that I read, I love reading fantasy. Genuinely, that genre is just the best genre that exists. I think a lot of people that start out reading romance books kind of dwell into fantasy romance books and then they just read fantasy because they just realize it's better. And like, no hate to people who only read romance books, that's fine with me. No hate to people who love this book. Love you. It's just that it's not for me. And I gave it a try and I didn't like it and I'm gonna stay away from it. Maybe. It depends. It really depends. Maybe a book is gonna come out and everyone's gonna be like, Sophie, please. And I'm gonna be like, okay. Maybe. This book is known to be Rilo fanfiction, and if you don't know what that is, fine. It's Star Wars fanfiction. She literally modeled the two main characters after Adam Driver and Daisy, I don't know her last name. And it's very in your face. I mean, if you look at the cover, it's like, Queen, slay. Also, there was a controversy surrounding Mrs. Hazelwood because she stated that she can't write, which is true. Like, we love a self-aware queen. But she basically said that she doesn't really know how to write, and she has someone, I don't know if it's her editor or someone else, give her certain plot points or tropes, and she just forms a story around that. But she doesn't have any initial thoughts, is how I understood it. Maybe I'm a little bit wrong, but the part of her editor giving her tropes to write around is true. Now, why the fuck is she famous? Because, like, anyone can do that, I'm pretty sure. Like, I could do that. You gave me tropes, I could write. Because her writing was nothing extraordinary. The way she wrote, the way she formulated sentences. I don't really know the, terms. Like, her prose, if you want to be more precise. It was nothing that was, like, new. And it was nothing that was good. And, listen, I read that book 3 weeks ago. So, God knows what the fuck I wrote down. Let's see. The book is about a main character whose name I forgot, and a main male character whose name I forgot, and the girl is in STEM. Women in STEM. I used to study engineering. I was a woman in STEM, and then I was let go off because I failed my exam too many times. So I am no longer a woman in STEM. I do marketing now. Much more fun. I fucking hate engineering. I don't know why I did that in the first place. It's because my dad's an engineer, and he was like, you should also do that. And I was like, I don't really want to do it. And then he was like, okay. And then he still made me do it, and then I failed. And then he was like, oh my god, why did you fail? I was like, I didn't even want to do this in the first place. I tried my best, okay? I don't fucking know math. So anyway, she's a woman in STEM, and she's a student, and it's very, you know how people always make fun of Americans because they always have these weird terms for everything, where they're like, freshman, sophomore, and no one outside of America really gets it. That's how I felt reading this book, because she's like, yeah, he's my professor, but I'm not his undergrad and PhD and blah blah blah, and I was like, yeah, But, like, that's on me, because I'm not American. Like, how would I know, you know? So that's not critique on the book. It's just, like, I couldn't know. Only if I did research, and I don't care enough about America. And the dude she falls in love with is her professor, but not her professor, but he's also, because she's, like, a biology student, she does, like, cancer research, because her mom died of cancer. But he's not really her professor or her supervisor or whatever, but they're in the same department, and it's, like, a whole thing, and it's really weird. Olive, her name is Olive. Wow. Her name is Olive, and she is a PhD student in biology. And we begin the book with a prologue where she's, like, crying her eyes out. I look like that? Why do I look like that? On the front camera, I was like, what the fuck? Basically, she meets this guy in a bathroom, and this was, like, around a year before the main plot starts, and she keeps talking to him, and I think there's something wrong with her contact lenses, and so she can't really see. I don't have contact lenses, but, like, maybe you should change them. Oh yeah, she doesn't change them because she's broke. This is America. She's talking to this dude, and she's like, how long have you been here? He goes, 6 years, and then she goes, oh, so are you graduating soon? And he can't even answer her because she just keeps on talking, and so this is kind of like a miscommunication where she doesn't realize it's this dude that later on becomes the main male character, but it's very obvious to you, and, like, there keeps being, like, this mystery around it, but, like, it's very obvious that it's him. Like, who else would it be? Because then there's, like, a lot of I don't even want to talk about this book now that I'm realizing. This was ass. I fucking hate romance. There was so much miscommunication that it, like, got on my fucking nerves, you know what I mean? Because, like, of course you can do a good little miscommunication trope, but, like, it was, like, to a point where I was like, are you fucking dumb? I forgot what his name was. What was his name again? It was something stupid. Fuck, man. Wasn't his name Carlson or something? Olive could smell a whiff of eugenol, a laundry detergent, and clean male skin. An oddly nice combination. Girl, what the fuck is clean male skin? What does that even smell like? How is it different from clean female skin? How does clean skin just smell in general? Like, just clean skin? How do you get it clean without fucking shower gel? So it smells like shower gel? I don't know how loud I have to yell for you to hear me in a fucking microphone. The reason I don't really like romance is because I always feel like there's nothing really happening. There's, like, only so much you can do in a non-supernatural world, and I feel like having fantasy elements just brings in so much more excitement, because anything can happen. Like, people can come back from the dead. People can die, first of all. Okay? People never fucking die in normal books. That's boring. Oh, his name is Adam. How the fuck could I forget that? Literally named after the fucking actor. That is so bold. That is so fucking bold. Like, I kind of admire it. Like, she's gotta be brave. The reason this whole scheme starts, because they do start fake dating, is because she told her bestie that she had a boyfriend or that she was dating someone, and then her bestie comes to the lab and she's afraid that she will see her. Oh yeah, because her bestie is dating a dude that she dated, which is weird in itself. Like, don't fucking do that. No arguing there, okay? I think that's weird. That's really weird. And then she's like, oh no, I'm so over the dude, you can date him, like, whatever. And her friend doesn't believe him, but she wants to be like, no, you can date him, like, I'm totally over him, I have someone new. And so her friend sees her in the lab after she told her, no, I'm on a date, and to underline that she was actually seeing someone, she just kisses a random dude that walks past her. And it happens to be Dr. Adam Carlson. Whatever he is, the doctor. She literally just kisses him, like, in the hallway, and they talk after that, and they kind of make jokes about the fact that he will report her for sexual assault. Which I was like, you should do that. You should really do that. She realizes her mistake after. She's like, fuck, I killed? I killed the doctor. You should have done that. See? The stories are, like, coming up in my head. I love fantasy. You can just write any shit. She's like, oh my god, yeah, I kissed him. I keep wanting to say killed. Yeah, I kissed him. Like, I'm in so much shit now. This is so bad. Fuck. I don't really know what she thinks. I wasn't really listening. Did you just kiss me? He sounded puzzled and maybe a little out of breath. His lips were full and plumb, and God, kissed. There was simply no way Olive could get away with denying what she had just done. Still, it was worth a try. Nope. I just don't have a sense of humor because I didn't think that was funny. Listen, this Dr. Adam dude, he is known by everyone to be like really cold, and he kind of like makes a lot of students cry and redo their work, and he's like really mean and evil. Fuck him. I'll just go back to my office and begin to work on my Title IX complaint. Yeah, that would be great since, wait, you're what? Title IX is a federal law that protects against sexual misconduct within academic settings. I know what that is. I see, so you willfully choose to disregard it. What? No, I didn't. I must be mistaken then. Someone else must have assaulted me. Assault? I didn't assault you. You did kiss me, but not really, without first securing my consent. I asked if I could kiss you, and then did so without waiting for my response. Basically, he's in the right, okay? They're arguing back and forth. Why the fuck did she do that? Like, I don't know. Why are we just lying to our best friends? Are they really your best friends if you're lying to them? They meet up, and she comes up with this idea where she's like, okay, we already kissed and my friend saw it. Maybe we should just tell everyone that we're fake dating. And then he just agrees. Listen, when To All the Boys I Loved before it came out, I was eating that shit up. But I feel like one fake dating trope is like enough for me. You know what I mean? This is being made into a movie, no? I heard that recently. And then people were like, oh my god, imagine if she actually gets the two bitches on. Yeah, imagine. Fucking imagine that. So then he agrees to fake date her because for some reason his bosses don't want to... Listen, this is like where the American terms come in, and PhD and whatever, I don't really know. Basically, Mr. Dr. Adam Man is not getting funds for a project that he wants to fund because his bosses think that he is going to move away soon and he's going to move to Stanford. I don't know where they are right now. So he's like, if we date, they would think that I have a reason to stay here and not leave, and then they would like unfreeze my funds and give me the money to execute this project. And she's like, do you want to go? And he's like, no, I don't know why they're thinking that. I would never leave. And then she's like, okay. And so now they're dating because he wants his bosses to think that he is gonna stay, even though he was planning on staying the whole fucking time. And she agrees, well, because it was her idea. Because she wants to fool her friend. They agree that they should meet up at least once a week to hang out, so people, like in public, so people will believe that they're dating even though they're like not communicating much and they're not hanging out in private. They think that would be best. So they decide to go to Starbucks once a week. Adam Carlson was handsome. Adam Carlson with his long nose and wavy hair, with his full lips and angular face that shouldn't have fit together. Adam Driver is fugly. Listen, you know why we think he's hot? Because he really looked good as Kylo Ren. I don't know when those movies started coming out, but I watched them in the cinema, and I had a crush on Kylo Ren. I'm gonna be fucking honest, like, he looked really good in that movie. Olive had been writing to different dudes. I don't really know they like stand, like PhD professors, doctors, I don't really know. Because she wanted to get funding for a project of hers, I'm pretty sure. And so she was writing to people that she thought would be able to help her. And one of those people was someone called Dr. Tom Benton, and he's kind of our antagonist because he's like... I feel like in romance books you always need a bad guy that like sexually assaults the main characters, so there's drama, which is really weird to me that's like the drama, you know, and that's why in fantasy books they just kill like relatives and friends. Turns out that this dude is actually besties with Adam, and they randomly meet when they're in the Starbucks because the guy is over in wherever the fuck they are. Where are they? What part of America? But he's from Stanford and he's visiting, and they wanted to meet up because they had been emailing back and forth, and now they meet in the fucking Starbucks and start talking already. And he's like, oh my god, yeah, that's so slay of you. Like, your project and shit, you're slaying, bestie, hunty. I don't really know what he said because I don't really care. There's a bunch of things that happen with, like, forced proximity, and the forced proximity is always because her best friend forces her into his proximity, and it's really weird, and it made me really uncomfortable because I don't really know why your friend would do that. Tom dude, I think, is holding a conference in, like, a big room, and a lot of people are there to listen because he's an important person in this universe, and biology, whatever the fuck they're doing, I didn't really care that much, because, like, I didn't get it. I didn't get the American terms. Shout out though. Shout out America. You need it. She comes a little bit late, I think, to this conference, and then there's no space to be seated anymore, and so she would have to stand. And I'm pretty sure she's a short queen because this is romance and we have like the whole height kink thing going on. Yeah, we really do. He's like, it's mentioned like an abnormal amount of times how fucking big, not his cock, but like just his body is. And then he's so huge and he's so tall, and Adam was so tall and she has to look up at him, blah blah blah, and whatever, that was not the point I was trying to make. Her friend is like, oh, Olive, just sit on his lap. Like in the front row of this huge conference that's filled to the brim. People are standing. And he's basically, I mean, he's not directly her boss or her supervisor or anything, but he's in the same department, and he's like, he is a professor and she is a student. Sit on his lap. As if their relationship in itself isn't weird enough. Like, just in general, student-teacher, weird. Sit on his lap. Like, she basically forces her to sit on his lap, and then she's like, oh my god, this is kind of nice, but like, this is the first strike that her friend has, okay? This is the first thing she does. There's this fucking fly in here, and I'm gonna start screaming very soon. Then she keeps apologizing for sitting on his lap, and he keeps saying, it's okay, don't worry about it, it's okay, it's fine, and she apologizes way too fucking much. She is the most insecure bitch that you will ever fucking meet, and if she's like, there was like no growth to that, you know, where she like started getting more confident. No, she kept apologizing. They were fucking, and she apologized that she was wet. And that was literally my review for the book on Goodreads, because I was like, I cannot believe that I am reading this. That is like the last thing to apologize for. I'm very much sorry, but like, I am sorry for you saying sorry. Like, bitch, it's not that deep. Then you remember the first strike, sitting on a lap. Second strike, oh, go give him a kiss. Olive rolled around, abruptly reminded of Anne's existence. What? No, I'm good. I just said goodbye to him a minute ago, and oh, why don't you want to kiss your boyfriend? It's not that I don't want to, dude, he just moved a truck by himself because he's so strong. On uphill ground, he deserves a damn kiss. Anne shoved Olive and made a shooting motion. Shooting? Shooting her? No. I am very much in like the kill zone right now. Basically, someone's car broke down and then he helped shoving it so it would get started again. I don't really know. Bitch, like, I also don't know anything about cars. Like, I could care less. I just know my car is broken. I need a new one. So please watch the ads. Yeah, so whatever. He helped the car go uphill and he, like, took his shirt off. He's, like, really big and he has a 6-pack. Maybe even an 8-pack. You remember that one scene? Yeah, that's what he looks like. And then her friend forces her to go give him a kiss. Which is so weird to me. Imagine that in real life. I could not imagine saying to my friend, oh my god, look, your boyfriend, go give him a kiss, he deserves a kiss for that, go fucking bitch, and like shoot her? No, shoot her. Fuck, you know the main villain of this book is the best friend. Fuck off. Basically, there's a lot of conflict because since he is her higher up, even though not directly, as I mentioned before, and he keeps failing students on whatever they're doing. I don't really know how it works. People come to her and they're like, how could you date him? How could you like someone like him who's so mean to all of us? Also, I have worn this hoodie in like 4 different videos at this point. I'm sorry, I just had to mention it. Maybe if I hadn't mentioned it, you wouldn't have noticed, but like, this is the best hoodie and it was like on sale for only 20 bucks. And I also have it in white. I'm so bored. Like, I can't even focus on the book. He failed another student, and then there was a whole argument about how can you like him? No one likes him. You're the only person that likes him. How can you be with him? Blah, blah, blah. And that is, like, wrong to take that out on the partner because they are not that person. And if you want to take it out on someone, do it on the person responsible. It occurred to her that when Adam had given her his number, she'd neglected to give hers in return, which meant that he had no way of knowing who was texting him now. And the fact that he'd guessed correctly revealed an almost preternatural intuition. I don't think, respectfully, that this man that's like hated by everyone, really moody and doesn't really have friends, gives his number out a lot, okay? So him having given you his number and you texting him, even if he doesn't like know it's you, and you're texting him about this whole situation with failing someone, who else would it be? Like, chill out. You know? There is no supernatural intuition. It's not that deep. It's literally just him making like logical connections in his brain. Third strike her best friend has, fuck her best friend. They're at some kind of party that's outside, I don't really remember, but Adam is playing volleyball or something without his shirt on. He doesn't have sunscreen on. So her friend is like, hey, come over. Olive is gonna put sunscreen on you. She keeps forcing them to interact when they are clearly uncomfortable. Maybe they don't like being affectionate in public, which is completely fine. So the fact that she keeps doing it is so weird to me. She can't read the room, even if they don't really have a conversation. They don't really have conversations that much in this book, her and her best friend, if I'm being honest. So she rubs him in with sunscreen. He's super buff. Ugh. How old are you? 34. Oh, wow, she thought younger, or older maybe. She thought he existed in an ageless dimension. She's so fucking annoying. Who thinks like this? It was so weird to hear a number, to have a year of birth, almost a whole decade before hers. I'm 26. Olive wasn't sure why she offered up the information, since he hadn't asked. I have never read a book with main characters this old, and honestly, I don't ever want to do it again, because this bitch behaves like she is 17 years old, and he behaves like he is 50 years old. The age difference between them, it feels so dramatic, and there is a big difference between 26 and 34, definitely, but it's so weird reading about a couple where they just feel so vastly different. All the big words. They feel very far apart in age, because Adam is just very he's very sure of himself, he's very dominant, and she just keeps apologizing for everything, very insecure, and it's like, bitch, you've gotten this far, I know people are not confident, but sometimes they are, fake it till you make it, bitch. I don't know how old Mrs. Hazelwood is. Thank God I can use my phone so I can just Google it, because this scene, sometimes you just read scenes in books where you can tell. Okay, I don't know how old she is, but just listen to this. She felt her cheeks curve into a smile, trying to imagine what he was listening to. Probably Coil or Kraftwerk. The Velvet Underground, a TED Talk on water-efficient landscaping, whale noises. She would have given a huge chunk of her salary in exchange for 5 minutes alone with his phone, just to mess with his playlist. Add Taylor Swift, Beyonce, maybe some Ariana. Broaden his horizons. She couldn't see his eyes behind the dark lenses, but she didn't need to. His mouth had curved as soon as he noticed her. His smile, slight but definitely there. They're starting to connect on emotional basis. They're starting to get along even though they're fake dating. What the fuck? If you had 5 minutes, you would give a huge chunk of your salary just to add some Beyonce to his Spotify playlist? Just ask him if he's ever listened to Beyonce, what he thinks. That is, worth your money, girl? You know what I mean? It's very dramatic. It's very dramatic. If I paid a huge chunk of my salary to go through someone's phone for 5 minutes, I would not go through their Spotify. That's, the last thing I would go to, because that can be public information, girl. I can look it up right now if I wanted to, you know what I mean? She was hanging out at Adam's place. The Tom dude was also there, and he offers her a spot at Harvard, which maybe they are at Stanford and they're talking about going to Harvard. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, but doesn't matter. Do the specifics really matter? But she gets the spot. She's hanging out with Adam, and the Tom dude is there, and he's like, by the way, Olive, you can come to Harvard, you can do your project, whatever, I'm excited to have you there. And slay, we love it at this point. We don't know yet the dramatics of it. Then she meets with her bestie in Starbucks, and she talks about having a crush on Adam, which is really weird because at this point I'm pretty sure her friend was thinking that they've been dating for a while, but they talk about her having a crush on him, and he is part of this. I don't know how much of the conversation he hears, but he's standing right beside her, and I cannot do this anymore, guys. The fucking trope of people standing right behind you when you're talking about them. Is it fucking 2006? Anyway, she's like, I wasn't talking about you, I was talking about the guy my friend is dating, or whatever. I was talking about someone else, and because he didn't hear the whole conversation, he's like, oh yeah, okay, don't worry, we're just fake dating, it's not that deep, whatever. And she's like, yeah, I wasn't talking about you, and he just believes her. Maybe he doesn't have that much common sense. That it was literally their date day, that day that this was happening, when she met with her friend in Starbucks, they were supposed to meet up, and she still had this faux pas. Big word again. Also, this is part of the miscommunication trope that I was talking about. Her, first of all, the whole thing of her saying she has a crush on someone else. And then also on Adam's part, she was talking to someone, I don't remember who, and they told her that Adam like had a crush on a woman for like a year now. He met her and fleetingly, and they have like a thing, and so Olive doesn't connect the dots that it was him who she met in the bathroom, and that he has a crush on her, or had a crush on her for a year after meeting her in the bathroom, and he's been pining over her for like the whole time. And even after she realizes that he remembers the meeting, she still doesn't connect the dots of like, oh, maybe he means me if he's like, oh, for a year and they don't, like, whatever. Like, she doesn't get it. It would be an equally stupid idea to wonder what the woman Holden mentioned the other day looked like. Probably stunning. Probably feminine, with curves. Someone who actually needed to wear a bra. Someone who was not half covered in freckles. Who had mastered the art of applying liquid eyeliner without making a mess of herself. I fucking hate Olive. I fucking hate this writing. Why are we writing like this? It is literally 2022. Like, literally, and we're still writing, oh my god, she probably has tits. So what if you have small tits, bestie? She's so different. Like, she's not like other girls. You know, she's not feminine, and she cannot apply eyeliner. If you can't apply eyeliner properly, you're not a real woman. So, I think a lot of us are just, like, out of the game. She has a big presentation at some science meetup, I don't really know, and Adam can't make it there because he has his own presentation, and it's like a really big deal to her that she has to go through it alone, blah blah blah. I don't really care, and I also don't really know. And this is where the big no-no of this book happens with the evil dude, the Tom dude that was like, oh, you can come to Harvard, yes. And you know why he did that? Because I'm gonna tell you because I have to read it up. I don't remember. You don't think I accepted you into my lab because you're good, do you? A girl like you, who figured out so early in her academic career that fucking well-known successful scholars is how to get ahead. You fucked Adam, didn't you? We both know you're going to fuck me for the same reason. You're disgusting. Am I? That makes two of us. You used Adam to get to me and to my lab. To this conference too. I didn't even know Adam when I submitted. Oh, please. You're telling me you thought your pitiful abstract was selected for a talk because of its quality and scientific importance? Someone here has a very high opinion of herself, considering that her research is useless and derivative, whatever, and that she can barely put together two words without stuttering like an idiot. You don't think it's true that scientists in the field want to impress the great Adam Carlson enough to kiss the ass of whoever he's fucking at the moment? I certainly did when I told his very mediocre girlfriend that she should come work with me. But maybe you're right. Yeah, basically we need conflict. And so he's like, oh, you're a woman in STEM and I'm a sexist. And so you can't, like, achieve anything without fucking a man. Because that's just how the world works. And I'm sure that, like, this still happens. Like, I'm not disregarding that. But it's, like, very, like, in your face. Like, you knew this was going to happen because there was, like, basically no conflict up to this point. Everything was going their way. They were falling in love and everything. So now you need a big thing. For some reason, she doesn't tell Adam. And it's also mentioned to us that she was recording since the talk because she recorded her own presentation to show it to Adam and to show it to her, like, own supervisor or whatever. And so she mentions, oh, I turned it off because I have been recording since after, like, I was recording the whole time up until I come to the hotel room. So we know as the reader, if you connect, like, the dots, I should stop saying that. I feel like I said that 5 times in this fucking video. We know that what happened is she recorded this whole interaction with the Tom dude that was, like, assaulting her and everything. But for some reason, she decides not to tell Adam, which is really weird to me. Like, I would be telling fucking everyone, but, like, I get it. Actually, I kind of get it. She doesn't tell Adam for some reason. It really aggravated me because he's like, you can tell me, don't worry about it. He's been nothing but supportive of her up to this point, you know what I mean? And so I don't know why she doesn't feel comfortable enough to tell him. Bitch. What about what I want? She leaned forward, letting her words soak the silence for drawn-out seconds. What about the fact that I want this? Though maybe you don't care. She squared her shoulders, blinking quickly against the prickling sensation in her eyes. Because you don't want it, right? Maybe I'm just not attractive to you, and you don't want this. It nearly made her lose her balance, the way he tugged at her wrist and pulled her hand to himself, pressing her palm flush to his groin to show her that, oh, Did he just assault her because he made her grab his cock? His penis cock? God knows. Maybe he doesn't. Yes, they start having violent sex in the room. Hotel room. Not just any room. 2 + 2, I'm gonna undress you. 3 + 3, you're gonna undress me. Shut up, Pitbull. But this is now at the very end of the book when they start to finally have sex, and it was weird, okay? I have the whole reaction to the sex scene as I was reading it in my reading vlog, because I was filming myself, because I'm so disappointed. I feel like I should film myself reading every book, because I'm just so fucking funny. He was the distracted one now, staring at her breasts like they were something spectacular, his lips parted and breath quick and shallow. Remember what? Our first kiss. He didn't answer. Instead, he looked up and down at her, eyes glazed, and said, I want to keep you in this hotel room for a week. His hand came up to cup her breast, not exactly gentle. Just this side of too forceful, and Olive felt herself clench around nothing. She's doing, like, how is it called? Giggling? You know, on TikTok? With your cooch? He could fit her entire breast in his mouth. All of it. She must really have small tits. Either she has really small boobs or he has a really big mouth. I have never, like, entire tit? Entire tit. I respect it. Also, I'm pretty sure she's a virgin, and so he's like, are you a virgin? And it's like Christian Grey and Anastasia Steele. Well, I don't know where I just pulled those names out of my ass. Like, how the fuck did I remember that woman's full name? But she's like, oh, I've never done this. And he goes, you're a virgin? And she's like, yeah. And then he's like, where have you been all my fucking life? And then he goes, I don't make love, I fuck. That's my favorite line of the movie. Of any movie ever. That's my favorite movie line ever. That's like something I would like put on my grave. Anyway, they're violently having sex now. You're so beautiful, may I... It took several heartbeats to realize that he was referring to his middle finger, to the way it was circling around her entrance and tapping at it. Applying a light pressure right against the rim? Rim job? So wet already. Olive moaned. Yes, anything. She breathed out. He licked her nipple, a silent thank you, and pushed in, or at least he tried. Olive hissed, and so did Adam with a muted hoarse fuck. He had big fingers. That must be why they didn't fit. The first knuckle was just shy of too much, a pinching ache and the sensation of damp, uncomfortable fullness. She shifted her... But what the fuck am I fucking reading? His hands and fingers are so huge. This is not even his cock. It's his middle finger. Sorry, I didn't mean to flip you off. Just imagine, like, I can do like this. No, how do you do it? Like this? It's so big. He cannot even finger her. And the thing is, I didn't read out the wet line to you. Wait a second. He hooked his finger on the elastic and pushed the cotton to the side. She was glistening, swollen and plump to her own eyes. Way too far ahead, considering that they'd barely done anything. Too eager. This was embarrassing. I'm sorry, there were two kinds of heat. The one curling tight at the bottom of her stomach and the one rising to her cheeks. Olive could barely tell them apart. I am perfect. He wasn't really talking to her. She's apologizing for, like, wanting to fuck him. So, I don't really know what to say about this, because, like, his fingers cannot be too big for her to be, like, not fingered, especially if she is as wet as they're saying. It just doesn't make sense. I've never heard of that, except if she has vaginalismus. But that's a very serious thing, you know what I mean? I mean, they do fuck later, so she does not have that, but I don't really know what I'm supposed to believe here. How can she be this... Like, you can't be that... It just doesn't work. You can't be that tight. Is she really wet? Or maybe she just peed. He's eating her out and she goes, this might take a while, she said apologetically, hating how thin her voice sounded. Fuck yes. His tongue swept the entirety of her long broad stroke. Please. He loves eating the cooch. I want to go down on you until you pass out. No, you can't. Period, queen. Stand your ground. No, you can't. Jesus. He licked her clit again, and she was too sensitive for this. Maybe. You are. He hooked his finger inside her, pressing against the roof of her channel. The roof of her channel? Pleasure welled in her, washing against her edges, so small and tight and warm. You are so small and tight and warm. You are so small and tight and warm. You can't tell me that this is not like a size kink thing. You can't tell me. You can't tell me. Miss Allie, she keeps coming and she won't stop coming. Someone has done this to you before, right? And he's nodding, and she goes, good, so you can tell me if I mess it up, because she's sucking his cock. Yeah, she's sucking his cock, and I think this is, like, the last sex scene that we have. Basically, the sex happens by like, the end of the book, but then they fuck for around 20 pages straight. And she sucks his cock, and she's, like, abnormally good at it, even though she's never sucked cock before. And I also don't think she watches porn. Now, different topic, her sexuality. Now that we're on it, what a segue. I found issue with her sexuality because I think Miss Hazelwood was kind of going for a demisexual vibe, and I don't really have any screenshots for that because this was something that I kind of thought about after I'd finished the book that I just thought was so weird. Olive basically keeps saying that she doesn't really, she never really had sex because it's hard for her to really like get comfortable with someone if she doesn't know them. And that would be considered demisexual, people who need to have an emotional connection with someone before they can get intimate with them. So that is completely valid, and I understand. Maybe I'm demisexual, but I've had a boyfriend for 6 years, so God knows, you know what I mean? Like, I have no idea. But you're gonna be like, so what's the issue with that? Like, it's nice that there's representation for that in the book, and I agree. I think that that is something that's not really explored. I think the only representation that you ever really get is gay or bi, but everything else is never really explored, especially, like, sometimes asexuality, but I've never really seen demisexuality. So you could say, oh yeah, slay, that's a good thing, but it's not, because Miss Hazelwood decided that this should not be explored more in depth, and that Miss Olive should just think she's weird for it. And so she keeps thinking, there's something wrong with me, I'm weird, and she never has any revelation about this, ever. I mean, there aren't any revelations about anything ever anyway, you know what I mean? Like what I said about the whole confidence thing, that never gets resolved, she never gets more confident, and also the demisexual thing, she mentions it like very sparingly, like maybe 3 times at most, and then she doesn't really, like she portrays it as something that's abnormal and that's weird, and that she feels out of place for it, and she never thinks like, no, this is okay, like, no, it's alright, like, I'm not struggling. You get my point. I feel like it should have been, I feel like if you put something like that in your book, it should be explored to a certain extent. You shouldn't just put it in to be like, oh yeah, representation, or whatever. I don't know what the thought was behind it, but if you're just gonna put it in there like 3 times and then have the main character think they're weird for it, and not really have a, like, sit-down conversation about it, which you could have easily done, then I don't think you should have included it at all, because that's just, like, shit representation. Then, this isn't really important, but they break up because they both kind of got the thing that they wanted. Her best friend is now dating the other dude, which was the whole reason why she wanted to fake date, and Adam gets his funds, which is the whole reason he wanted to date, and so they had, like, a set date, where they were like, okay, we're gonna break up, and so they do, and there's like no room for conversation, even though they both just fucked for 20 pages, and it's very obvious that they both want to be together. They break up. But don't worry, because they end up together, but that's why I didn't really want to mention it, but if you're never gonna read this book, like, here you go, they do break up. She now realizes that she has recorded the conversation with Tom. Okay, so let me wrap this up for you, because the camera ran out of storage because I talk too much. She realizes that she recorded Tom saying all these nasty things about her. She makes the executive decision to go to the dinner he's at with Tom, for whatever reason, to confront him and be like, I'm just gonna play the evidence, blah blah blah. He still wasn't looking at Tom, and not at Olive either. He was staring down at her phone, something dark and dangerous and frighteningly still in his expression. She should have probably been scared. Maybe she was a little. You're telling me your pitiful abstract was selected for a talk, blah blah blah. So it's the same thing he said before. We have the whole paragraph, so we are reminded of all the shit he said to her. It was him, Adam whispered. His voice was low, barely a whisper, deceptively calm, his eyes unreadable. It was Tom, the reason you were crying. When she came back after her talk, she was just crying in the hotel room, and then Adam was like, why are you crying? And she's like, oh, I don't know, like, I just don't want to talk about it, and, you know, this was the reason. Adam exploded so fast, she didn't even see him move. One moment he stood in front of her, and the next he was pinning Tom against the wall. I'm going to kill you, he gritted out, little more than a growl. If you say another word about the woman I love, if you look at her, if you even think about her, I'm going to fucking kill you. Actually, I will kill you anyway. And then people have to, like, rush in and hold him back because he's gonna kill him, and he's just so strong. And obviously they make up, they start dating now. Also, the fact that he says, the woman I love, she never, like, thinks about this again, which is really weird to me, because that was, like, you broke up and everything, so, like, why aren't you like, oh my god, he said that he loved me. She just doesn't think about it anymore. She's like, yeah, I get it. Like, who doesn't love me? So they make up. They start dating, they're now together, everything's happy, everything's go lucky, and everything's good, and we love Adam. Now, you know what? They confess their love to each other. She says it in Dutch because he's, like, part Dutch, which I don't think Adam Driver is, but, you know, we did, like, some difference from Adam Driver, so we could, like, we didn't have the issue there. Now, my conclusion on this book was that it was fucking boring. The thing is, it's romance. And you know how it's gonna go, and that's what I hate about romance, because I think to fantasy or anything else that is, like, not romance or not contemporary, there's, like, an element of unpredictableness, and whether the author is bold enough or not, you know what I mean? And that's just not a case in romance. So that's just the genre itself, and that's just my subjective personal opinion, so that's not critique on the book, but regardless, the book was fucking boring. I felt like Adam didn't have much of a personality, because he was supposed to be this gloomy man that's, like, super moody and doesn't like anyone, and so that was all he was. Like, that was his personality. What else does he do? I don't know. He goes running, I think. But maybe it's because he's 34. You know, people always say adults don't have any hobbies, so I've heard a lot of people say that. Okay, before anyone's like, who says that? I've heard a lot of people say that. Yeah, I thought that the characters were boring. I thought the story was boring. I thought that the writing was bad. I hated Olive as the main character. She was super annoying. I've heard a lot of people say, which is something that I can't judge, that it's a good representation for women in STEM, that they felt well represented by this book, that they didn't like Olive necessarily, but they thought that her being a woman in STEM was, like, very realistic the way it was written. That is a critique I've seen. Not a critique, there's a positive I've seen, but I can't judge that because I am not a woman in STEM, and also I'm not American. So, you know, I don't know. You be the judge, you go read it. Other than that, what the fuck? Other than that, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you like the new setup. It's only gonna go up from here, guys. Woo! We're only gonna go up. I gave this book 1 star. I don't think I said it before, but I gave it 1 star. And I don't know if I'll ever read romance again. It really depends. Like, it really depends. I really have to be, like, in the mood for it, and people will have to ask me nicely. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you want to see more of me, you can follow me on Instagram, you can follow me on TikTok, and yeah, that would be slay, you know? I'm always happy to see new people. Thank you so much for watching. I love you so much. Stay happy, stay healthy, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye bye!